Welcome back, everyone, to the CVR World Cup presented by Gent and sponsored by Outroute. We just got done watching the women's race. What an exciting race. Lindsay Guerra with the win. Awesome job to her, followed by Jans Denning. And then we did have, it looked like Ashley Kerlock across the line in third place. Solid job between the women's race. I mean, killer fast race.
Yeah, it was a really good race. Very, very exciting to watch. Lindsay won it with a lone break, which started pretty early. You could see her testing the other women's legs. She put in a couple of big 6-7 watt per kilo efforts, and that was obviously testing the legs of her rivals. And then she made a lone break and held it away all the way to the finish. I think the most excitement, Nathan, was actually for the second and third places, which was a real battle.
Yeah, that initial excitement up Libby Hill, bam, kicked it there. Lindsay got away, and then it was this battle between Lisa, Ashley, and Jans there all the way to the line there. Denny held it off for that second place, and Ashley with a solid result to the end there. So great job to all those women. We have the men's race now coming up. They are just warming up out on course and getting, it looks like in about 10 minutes or so, we will be having the men's race starting up here, and we'll be chatting a lot about this international field. Look at that field. Kim Little, Shane Miller, Scotty Weiss, Daniel Schmidt-Heine, Justin Purificati, Jens Tempelar, Quentin LaFay. We also have Jonathan Sandoval, Angel Carranza, as well as Joel Borland, all coming from all over the world, actually. Huge representation, international field here. And a lot of these racers, a lot more familiar with these ones out on Zwift. I cast around these guys almost every single day in the straight-up virtual environment. Now we get to get them testing each other with some verification. You know, we talked about this the first time around on with the women, but it's good to revisit it. We might have some new viewers out there that don't know what's going on with Zwift. So Zwift is a massive multiplayer online game in which you actually pedal a bicycle to power your avatar or your character in-game forward on a bike at the same speed that you would actually see in real life. So you put a weight into the game, you have a trainer or a power source that is communicating the power that you're putting into the pedals into the game, and you also put your height into the game, and those all come together to create the speed at which your character is moving forward into the game. And so these riders now, all the questions are taken away today, right? So they're going to be next to each other on verified trailers with verified weight, verified height, and that's the whole idea here with a LAN event. We got full verification ready to throw down in this arena with all the riders right next to each other.
Yeah, absolutely right, Nathan. I mean, what we're going to see today, we're going to be able to believe it. And just for people who are a little bit new to Zwift racing, racing on Zwift really was started by the community. It grew out of the game. When the game was launched, it was very, very quick to be adopted. Racing was very quick to be adopted by the community. The community has developed the rules for racing. It's developed its own system of regulation. It's even got its own regulating body, a little bit like the UCI. And the community's done all this stuff on its own. But in the end, we are dealing with thousands of people all over the world with different types of trainers, different kinds of setups, and we are reliant on the complete honesty of people of putting their exact weight into the game. And human nature being what it is, technology being what it is, sometimes the racing on Zwift, you might suspect that what we're seeing might not completely and accurately reflect reality. Today, that is completely different. Today, there is no room for doubt at all. These races, when you see these races competing against each other, it will be on a completely level playing field that's been validated, approved, and tested.
Yeah, and so looking at the riders right now, as you can see, we got Quentin LaFay lined up on the way on the left there. He is on, and the rest of the riders as well are all on Wahoo kickers, so they are on smart trainers. They will be feeling the gradient in the game, and they are all on the exact same setup that they will be communicating their power from those trainers into the game. And so that's what the setup looks like there. They've all got Zwift in front of them. They got keyboards in front of them as well in order to be able to manipulate the game as they would need to. Nice little setup there, set up by Gent. And it looks like they're nice and warmed up, getting ready for the takeoff in the world of the UCI Richmond World's Course today.
We should talk about Shane, Nathan. We should talk about Shane Miller first. Shane is... Again, it may not everybody may know this, but I do a podcast for Zwifters called the Zwiftcast. Nathan is one of my co-hosts, and the third co-host is Shane Miller, otherwise known as the Llama, come all the way from Australia today to take part. Shane, you recognise Shane because he hasn't got much hair, and he looks like an Australian dude. And Shane has been doing nothing, Nathan, but talking down his chances.
Yeah, that is true. He has. There is Shane Miller. We got a good shot of him as he is. They are logging him in, getting him ready to go. And Shane definitely has been saying, "I'm not going to win. No way, it's going to be me." And we have heard that over and over again from him. You know, is that a little bit of a tactic?
I think
though?
so.
You think so?
Yeah,
You
I
think
think
so?
so.
I know.
I
Leading
think so.
into the race, we had a couple discussions actually on Zwiftcast about what he'd been up to, and he wouldn't disclose what race he was after. But I think he did really well in a real life race recently that he was training for. So maybe a little bit, maybe talking himself down a little bit to make sure that the competition isn't watching out for Mr. Miller.
I think that could well be the case, Nathan. I think the other thing that we need to bear in mind is that Shane's coming out of an Australian summer. I mean, it's upside down land there. They've spent the last few months outside. I know Shane's been riding a lot outside. I know that he's going to be very well trained. So I'm just trying to counter your tactic here, Shane, of talking down your chances. But let's face it, he is up against some pretty stiff competition.
Yeah, and speaking of the rest of the competition, Scotty Weiss, winner of the first test event in Roanoke, Virginia. Amazing job, and that was against a huge professional level field. Gordon Wadsworth was there, Jeremiah Bishop was there. There was some serious talent there. Obviously, being the world champion, Masters world champion, current reigning, actually in real life in the TT as well as the road race. He won his last Zwift race back in December actually with a ZTR win actually. Quentin Lefay is also here, Vision Cycling in game is who he's representing, as well as a Cat 1 domestic team out of France. He took the Tour de Zwift overall last summer, so definitely somebody to watch out for. 90 races and 39 victories out on Zwift actually in the virtual environment. We'll see if he can match that though real life today. Justin Pierre here in real life riding for Rendell presented by Bemi, but he also rides for the well-known team ODZ in game as well. And so he took the ODZ Omnium actually back in December, everybody, with a first, and second, and the first overall in that Omnium. So somebody to watch out for. Also, Jurns Tempelaar, the current reigning Dutch national champion, virtual national champion in Zwift. So there was a Dutch National Championships recently. He took the W in that, so definitely somebody to be watching out for who's riding for the WBR team in game, the World Bicycle Relief team. Danny Schmidt-Heine, who we did that interview with, coming out of Switzerland, somebody definitely watching out for. Really strong man. I think we're going to see some big kicks from him. I heard somewhere in the 1,012 to 1,200 watts being thrown down for 15 seconds yesterday or something like that for some of his opening up sprints. So a lot of talent out there today, just to name a few of the riders. We've got a few riders who are not super familiar with Zwift as well, who might be wild cards we can throw in there. We've got Joel Borland coming out of, where's Joel coming out of? Joel Borland coming out of Belize, as well as Jonathan Sandoval coming out of Mexico, and Angel Carranza coming out of Guatemala.
And I bumped into a couple of those guys in the lift in the hotel, Nathan, last night actually. And what struck me immediately was the size of these guys. It's like when you go to a pro bike race and you realize actually just how small and light the really strong, fast guys are. And particularly, of course, South America, it's got a fantastic tradition of producing climbers. And we're on a course today, Nathan, which is backloaded with hills. There's 3 big hills on this route.
Yeah, definitely. As we saw, Libby Hill, the decider in the women's race. Going to watch out for that. It's going to be a sub 1 minute climb, I'm predicting, with the men when they go all out. And then, of course, we've got 23rd Street, full on 17% grade, 30-second climb, followed by about 2 to 3 minute over Governor Street. To all the viewers out there viewing out on Twitch, make sure to hit that follow button on the Zwift Community Live. But also, we're about to do a Twitter right from my account at Nathan Guerra, at Nathan with two underscores, and then Guerra. I'm going to tweet that out. Go ahead and share that up right now, all the viewers. We're going to tweet that out. Make sure to share that up to all your friends. If you're enjoying the stream, make sure to share it up with everybody you can out on your social media networks. So it looks like we are starting up here with a slow rollout. I believe. We got the thumbs up from the race commissaire there, it looks like. So a slow rollout. Let's have a controlled start until we get the go, go, go from the commissaire on site. So let's go ahead and have a slow rollout, boys. Go ahead and start a slow rollout, about 2 watts to 3 watts per kilogram top. 2 watts per kilogram would probably be best as you roll on out. Stay as a group and make sure to wait for the actual go, go, go for an uncontrolled rollout.
So this is looking like it's going to be a neutralized start, and this is the way that we used to start Zwift racing when racing in Zwift first became a thing. It's dependent on the racers observing a little bit of etiquette and making sure that they roll out together and that the pack forms just for a few moments before the go, 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 which I think Nathan is on the point of calling.
Yeah, it looks like we do have Shea Miller rolling it out nice and easy. Once we do, and it looks like they'll most likely go rounded all the way around to the cobbles or right around there. Slow rollout, controlled start, make sure everybody gets rolling. In Zwift is a part of a group, just like in real life when you have a controlled start. They make sure that everybody is on course, nice and chill, ready to go. Shane Miller is there. We do see leading things out a little bit. It is going to be a controlled rollout. We're going to have it all the way to the I think the cobbled section is probably the best place that I think they're going to make sure that this is rolling out to. Jurns Purificati there. Everybody just sitting in, waiting for the moment that they get the go. Jurns Tempelar now here, it looks like, is sitting in 1.5, 1.6 watts per kilogram or so. 112 beats per minute. There's the shot coming from Mr. Jurns Tempelar coming out of the Netherlands. Current virtual cycling Dutch national champion.
And Race Radio is telling me, Nathan, that they're waiting for your go, go, go. You can call this in 3, 2, 1 anytime you want.
All right, and we are going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Let's go racing out on Zwift, boys and girls. We got the men's World Cup CVR getting going with this launch, and from the get-go, nobody is holding back. This is a whole nother world of racing. And Schmid-Heine all the way into that 15 watts per kilogram for a moment there. We saw 11, 12, 100 watts or so, 117 RPMs. Daniel Schmid-Heine absolutely killing it. Off the front right now, as we look over his shoulder, we can see it as 1 second gap. Nobody's gone much of anywhere just yet. Quentin Lefebvre at the back here, sitting pretty, 162, 161 beats per minute. Maybe looking to play the smarter rider out on course. We'll have to see if he's able to do that, but we do have up toward the front now Kim Little here, 3.6, 3.7 watts per kilogram, 154 beats per minute. Kim looking pretty comfortable actually so far. Doesn't look like that 1,200 watts or so has really put anybody in too much of a spot of bother just yet. It looks like they're all feeling fairly well, but Weiss is right up at the front, 4.6 or so watts per kilogram. Here's the thing with Scotty Weiss though, super light rider. We're talking 120, 125, I think, pounds right now, and I have a feeling that those watts per kilogram are definitely going to be seriously high for him for the duration of the race. We are seeing a kick now coming from Borland, actually. One of the wild cards out here today, as you see 4.9 watts per kilogram as they head into that cobbled section out on course here, and this is a little 3% gradient. You could see a little bit of a kick and a little bit of a getting away there for a moment, but I don't think that's going anywhere, and I have a feeling this is going to be Grupo Compacto all the way up until maybe the 3 consecutive climbs out on Libby, starting with Libby Hill, Simon.
Yeah, glad to see that the Llama's hanging in there in that Grupo Compacto, and these guys are going to have to stay together, Nathan, because there's 2 laps of this pretty testing course to go. And for people who are unfamiliar with Zwift racing, we should perhaps just explain that drafting in Zwift is every bit as important, possibly even more important than it is in real life. If you fall off the back of this pack, there's no way you're getting back on.
Yeah, absolutely true. It is extremely, extremely important in Zwift, mainly because of what you said, the group dynamic, that if they do get away from you and you are off the back in Zwift, it is extremely difficult to get back and close that gap back down. And so definitely drafting in Zwift being extremely, extremely important and reserving that energy. We are seeing the riders up toward the front, 5.2, 5.4 watts per kilogram, getting a little bit antsy at these points. And a lot of times, if you're going to kick, you got to just go. And I have a feeling we're going to see at the front of this race, probably right around 4.0 to 4.5, and then dropping down into that 3 or so. We do see Borland falling off a little bit there, maybe getting a little anxious, making sure that maybe just like in kart racing, you're always kind of moving forward and not ever moving backward continually, and maybe find yourself off the back in the group. Quentin Lefebvre, it looks like, sitting at about 2.7 watts per kilogram. Carranza here, 3.6, 191 beats per minute, though, as we are seeing, I'm not sure how high he beats as far as if he beats like more like a butterfly, maybe a max heart rate up into the 200s with 191 already. We'll have to see if that is the case here with Mr. Angel Carranza, coming out of Guatemala, 21 years old. old, and it looks like some of his achievements include national champion and the XCO mountain bike 2014 and 2015. So as far as climbing legs go, that's somebody to watch out for here today. Maybe a wild card to upset some of the other climbers out here as well. Justin Purificati, though, up at the front for ODZ out of Canada. Another climber I think that we're going to be watching out for, 162 beats per minute, looking fairly comfortable.
Attack.
Actually, there's an attack now. Purificati's going. You can see it. There it is, up into that 5.3 watts per kilogram. He's got a gap, as you can see on the screen there, 9 meters. That means that there is no draft on him at this point, but Weiss is right back on his wheel. It was closed down very quickly.
They're not letting that one go. Now, it's interesting, Nathan, you were just talking about achievements. We can see in-game that one of the riders is wearing a depiction of one of the, if not the most coveted jerseys in all of cycling, and that's a jersey with the World Champion stripes on. Now, there's a real etiquette about wearing the World Champ jersey. If you're any kind of weekend warrior, you probably wouldn't be seen dead in a World Champion jersey. You'd be rightly scoffed at and sneered at by anybody who knows anything about cycling. But the guy wearing that jersey is fully entitled to wear it. And you can tell us why, can't you, Nathan?
Yeah, so being the current, so the reason why that is in-game, Zwift is actually giving that to him in-game after he won the road race as well as the TT Masters World Championship this year. Scotty Weiss, as we can see him from that real world look there in the arena, 167 beats per minute. The winner also of the first opening Roanoke event, actually. So definitely one to watch out for when we start heading uphill. He also has held a world record, actually, for Everstein in real life. And he will be making another attempt at that coming up here in just, I think it's coming up in just within a month or so. He's going to make another attempt at that world record. He actually held the world record on a course that was in Virginia that wasn't actually that suited for quick up and down. There were some obstacles and things that were in way on the downhill. So they're going to find an uphill for a better attempt at that world record to try and take it back, actually. So definitely a very experienced cyclist out on course with Scotty Weiss, current reigning road race and TT Masters world champion, and definitely one to watch out for. Kim Little, though, the winner of that GCN race that we had just a couple of months ago, riding for Team Experimental, currently donning the KOM jersey. I'm not sure he's going to be holding on to that. He'll have to be pretty fast up that Libby Hill in order to hold on to it, though. But having that KOM and that sprint jersey and the fastest time around the lap, that's what those three jerseys are all about, as you're seeing on the right-hand side as well as on the riders. On the right-hand side where my cursor is there, you can see the KOM is currently on Kim, and then you can look at the avatar that he has right there with it on as well. That means that that is the fastest time up Libby Hill, the cobble climb, which will be the first one they will approach after the industrial park today. Daniel Schmidt-Heine currently with the fastest sprint out on course, it looks like, for their warm-up, actually maybe also through this section that they just came through, actually still has the fastest time even after they came through the sprint section. So hanging on to that sprinter's jersey. Purificati then currently with the fastest time for the full lap. That is what the orange jersey is all about. I have a feeling that after this first lap, though, things are going to be much, much faster than the warm-up, Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see some records going today because the rate at which this group is moving, packs in Zwift create speed. If you get yourself in a pack, whether you're on a casual group ride or a full-on, full-gas race, packs move very, very quickly in Zwift. And we've got a pack here composed of, it must be some of the strongest riders ever to ride and race in Zwift. I mean, the caliber of these guys is really, really high. And that's proved because they've got achievements not only in Zwift, but they've got achievements in real life. And often people draw comparisons between Zwift and real life. But in the end, a watt is a watt, effort is effort, muscle is muscle, and if you can do well in real life, you're going to do well in Zwift, and vice versa. And these guys have all got proven track records in real life and proven track records in Zwift. You are seeing elite racing in Zwift right here. These are the top guys.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, Lama, I believe, was the winner of one of the first tours that Zwift did. Actually, there were some events that they were doing with setting up trainers kind of like this and doing these King of the Mountain challenges. And I think Lama actually won one of those first ones, Shane Miller, that we're looking at here out of Australia. And he looks to be fairly comfortable at this point. I also know that Shane, being a big tech guy, you can find him, gplama.com, I believe it is, and he's got his Lama Llama YouTube. Definitely want to check that out, where you can see all kinds of tech for him. He knows the ins and the outs of this game, though, because of that. And I know that he was doing some TT laps out on Watopia really early on, trying to find all of the fastest ways to go out on Zwift to get the most time. So if this rider does get away, he might be somebody to watch out for with more of a TT effort, I would think, out of the Llama. That would be his specialty. I know that's his specialty, actually, and that's what mainly he trains. So if he can find himself off the front at any point, he might be able to take that to his advantage or maybe chase some things down.
He could do that. And I think we're already seeing, Nathan, we're already seeing that Shane Miller's pre-race tactics have been just so much bluff, because he's hanging with this group. He's staying with this group. And if Shane was going to be talking down his chances as much as he would, I think he would have fallen off the back of this group already. But he is in there. I've even seen him put his nose in the wind once or twice. In fact, it looks as though he's got his nose in the wind now, which is not a great place to be, and Shane will know that. I'm sure he'll adjust his position and drop back into the peloton to make sure that he's getting as much shelter as possible. And again, for people who are new to the game, people who are new to racing in Zwift, you can adjust your position within the peloton with a huge amount of finesse in this game. You only have to back off on the pedals just a slight amount, and you'll drop back into the pack to get the maximum amount of shelter. Adjusting your position in the peloton and in the pack is a real skill that these guys have perfected, Nathan.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is something that they've been practicing for a long, long time, and it definitely takes a little bit of finesse to know how much you need to give and not give. If you give too much, you actually come flying. A lot of times people will overestimate how much they need to do in order to get back onto the wheel, and they'll come flying by the other riders. Well, at that point, you're no longer holding on to a wheel, and you lose the draft, and you end up getting this major yo-yoing effect where you're kicking too much. And now we do have an attack. Oh my goodness, we have Schmidt-Heine going. Deanna Schmidt-Heine with a huge effort. It was so huge, I can actually hear the trainers in the background now, up and out of the saddle, absolutely killing it on the downhill. He's got 3 seconds. The crowd is actually cheering him on at this point, yelling for Daniel to go, go, go. Tempular's trying to follow. 4 seconds on the downhill now, and I think Schmidt-Heine is actually using that point out on course where he knows he can put the hurt on some of the lighter riders. Being more of a ruler with big power, tries to kick things off and tries to drop a few off the back. Quentin LeFay now on the back here, 2.6 watts per kilogram though.
Did you see that? Did you see that glance across from Daniel then? He looked, and that's the difference when you've got all the races in one place as opposed to each in their basements or garages. He just looked across to see if he'd put at the hurt. He looked across to see if he was making anybody suffer, and that's the big difference that we've got here. These guys can see, smell, almost taste each other, and that glance across I thought was very significant.
It definitely was. It definitely was. And we are seeing now it's all back together. The move has been covered, but that was a huge effort into 1,000+ watts, and they are not messing around today. That is for sure. Every effort that's been going out so far has been one that's trying to be decisive. Definitely trying to be decisive. We do have the Llama here. Shane Miller now at the front of the race right now, coming out of Australia, starting to trying to control things a little bit, make sure nothing gets too out of control just
keeping
yet.
Himself cool, Nathan.
Yep, definitely keeping himself cool. Getting a little bit of water there. Now I think they're going to start feeling a little bit of those jitters though, prior to when they know the real hurt is going to come. You know, it's going to be a 1 minute all-out effort to the top of Libby Hill, because every rider here knows that that is going to be the first deciding moment. You know, there might be a few that are going to try and break things apart. Some of these riders might be thinking, I'm just going to try and be right on a wheel as we go over, because I know there's going to be another decision that's going to be made on 23rd Street where it kicks again. I want to be able to recover as much as I can after Libby Hill. Some of them are just me thinking about hanging on Libby Hill and making sure, because they know that they're not maybe the climbing type, and they know that they got it on the flats, and they want to make it all the way over Governor Street and then attack from there, knowing that they might have something on the flats. And so, you know, then there's going to be Governor Street though after that 23rd, and that's going to be the real decider, I think, that's going to break things apart for your final lead group out on course today. I have a feeling it is going to break apart though a little bit at that point.
I'd be very surprised if it doesn't break apart on the hills. One of the things that these racers will know, many of them race on Wahoo kickers, but one of the things that they'll be very, very aware of is you see those spinning wheels at the back there, just behind the gears, just behind the cassette. That is a real piece of weight. That is a big flywheel. That is 20 to 25 kilos. And if you have just given it full gas to get to the top of the hill, you crest the brow of the hill, you get over the summit, and then you've got to kick down hard. And you've got to kick down hard to get that flywheel in motion again. So not only climbing the hill is a very, very, very hard effort, cresting it and going again over the top of it is where some really decisive moves can happen.
Yeah, and that's definitely a little bit different. That is something that's a little bit different. We actually are seeing a move here
Attack,
from Sandoval.
attack,
Yes,
attack.
Sandoval is absolutely killing it now off the front momentarily there, seeing if he could test the field just a little bit. Scotty Weiss now pumping into that 6.2 watts per kilogram, closes it down pretty quickly there. Nothing happening too much there from Sandoval. He did get a little bit of a gap into that 191 beats per minute or so, but didn't go quite much of anywhere. They are about to hit Libby Hill now. I have a feeling a couple of the riders are going to start to back off and really conserve as much energy as they want, because I have a feeling this is going to be one of the hardest all-out one-minute efforts that these riders have ever done in their lives, I have a feeling. I mean, this chasing pixels, they're going to have to chase their pixels and the legs next to them in real life here at this first ever LAN event, World Cup, CVR World Cup, presented by Cycling Gent, World Cup launch. So killer effort so far. We are seeing a bump up now from some of the riders I might call out as favorites in the climbing, at least. Jurgens Templar heading to the front, making sure that he is not out of position, as you can see here, up toward the front riding for that WBR in the WBR kit, coming out of the Netherlands there. Jurgens Templar looking fairly comfortable, 158 beats per minute there. A little bit of a look of maybe a little bit just checking things out there, seeing where things are at, though. Definitely staying on it. You can tell there's some focus right there from Jurgens, making sure nobody's going much of anywhere. We are seeing up toward the front, though, Scotty Weiss is there as well, sitting at 173 beats per minute, and now they are going to start the climb. What's going to happen here? What kind of time? We are seeing Kim Little with a 126. There goes Templar, 7.9 watts per kilogram. He's the first one to go. Weiss now trying to follow very close. We are seeing 67 RPM up and out of the saddle is Scotty Weiss, 9.7 watts per kilogram coming from Weiss, but now we got Pierre Ficati, 7.9, looking over his shoulder there. Maybe one to be watching out for him. Maybe going to be one of the dark horses here. He did win, though, the ODZ Omnium, so he knows how to climb. That was all London that he won it on. Look at them all up and out of the saddle there. Here's the real life efforts coming from now Schmidt. Heine there is following as well, just a little ways back. Now we are seeing 1 second gap from Weiss to Schmidt Heine. The continuance is coming here from Scotty Weiss, 182 beats per minute, 450 watts, 492 watts now. He is laying it down into those orange numbers. When you see those orange numbers on the right-hand side, you know they are going way up and above into a sprint-type effort. We are seeing Lefay now following off, 7 seconds back. Borland as well, 8 seconds. Carranza now 13 seconds back. So this is the deciding moments. Lama hanging in there, though. We thought that Miller might be off the back at this point, but no. 182 beats per minute, holding on to the wheels now. Weiss really going now, 8.2. Jurgens is still on his wheel. Little is there as well. Pierre Ficati has still made it. Miller, 1 second gap. He has to close it now, or it will be GG, game over for him. I think Schmidt Heine is trying to get back on the wheel. Sandoval has made it as well, but it will be Lefay and Borland off the back, I think, for a chase group. And now we are down to, it looks like, 8 riders left. Actually, I'm sorry, 7 riders left in the lead group. It is all back together. Schmidt Heine looks like suffering, though, pretty well. Daniel Schmidt Heine here. Let's see that real life effort. Look at it. He is doing everything he can. It looks like a little bit of jello legs at this point coming from Daniel. 185 beats per minute, team experimental, trying to get back to that pack. He's just done it and grabbed onto those wheels. Nice job to Daniel there. Really an effort coming there to staying with those boys.
That was crucial, absolutely crucial for him to get back on. But I think even more significant, Nathan, we've just seen there, Shane Miller got over that climb. He got over that climb. He got over that climb convincingly. So, you know, this is a guy who goes fast in a straight line on the flat, but he managed to get over that climb. And the thing is, he's still there. He's still there with that group. But can he make it another 3, 4, 5 times?
Yeah, and we are seeing now, this is another kick in the 23rd Street, the famous winning place, a lot of times out on the UCI Worlds course here, and we are seeing Templar now, 8.0 watts per kilogram. Weiss now making his way to the front. He's been leading out every single time on these climbs, not letting these boys take it easy. That is for sure. Sandoval now, 6.97 watts per kilogram, 200 beats per minute coming from Mr. Joel Sandoval now, absolutely killing it, trying to get back on with the wheel. He is holding on there. there, playing it pretty smart for somebody who doesn't do a whole lot of Zwift, actually. Able to hold the wheel that's right in front of him. 201 beats per minute, though. Solid effort coming from Sandoval right now. Moving forward, then, let's get back to the front. We are seeing Pierre Ficati now at the front. Justin looking fairly comfortable. It looks like 184 beats per minute right now, as now we are seeing a Sagan Tuck full-on coming from Mr. Scotty Weiss as well. A little bit of a smirk there from Justin, liking what's happening at this point. Glad to be making that front group, I think. I think a lot of times, even though they race each other a lot virtually, they weren't sure what to expect from all the riders right next to each other in real life. So just to make it.
I don't know if that was a smirk or a grimace. You sometimes can't tell, but these guys are working really, really hard. It's so interesting just to see them glancing very slightly to the left or right, just checking out what the opposition is doing in real life, as well as, of course, they're able to check out in an amazing amount of detail what the opposition is doing in the game. Because the difference between Zwift racing and real life racing is that these guys have got access to their rivals' metrics. They can see exactly how hard their rivals are working. They can see what their heart rate is. They can see what power they're putting out. They can see how that power translates to the weight, which is the watts per kilogram metric. What that really means is that you can mark rivals very closely. You can detect if your rival is weakening. You can detect if your rival is fading. You can detect if your rival is growing in strength. And that's one of the really fascinating things, Nathan, I think, about racing in Zwift.
Definitely, and that is what tends to push, I think, the riders even more, is having those metrics right there on screen. So on the right-hand side of the screen, all of the riders can actually see what the other riders are experiencing as far as, well, at least what they're putting out for their watts per kilogram. They can't see the other riders' heart rates unless they were to click on the other riders, but as you can see on the right-hand side here, they can follow the moves, not by just the avatars, but by the numbers. So right now on an uphill gradient of 7.2, 7.5%, they're actually feeling that gradient from the game because they're on those Wahoo Kicker smart trainers right now. And Templar putting out that 5.6, 5.3 at the front of this race, 180 beats per minute. They know that they have to match that and hang on the wheel. And in order to match that, they know that they got to put out that exact watts per kilogram. If you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about with watts per kilogram, you're walking into this live stream like, what is going on here? I see avatars. I see real people. What you're seeing is these real people right there with that shot, throwing that power right now into those bikes. Daniel Schmidt-Heine right there, chasing these riders down. 5 seconds back up Governor Street right now, is trying to put everything he can into that bike, which is communicating the actual power that he's putting down into the game. Right now it is 4.7 watts per kilogram. And when I say 4.7, 4.6 watts per kilogram, that means how many watts he's putting in for how many kilograms he actually weighs in real life. We are seeing Sandoval now going.
Is there a breakaway there?
That is, wow, really 196 beats per minute coming from Jonathan Sandoval. What an effort here, coming from one of the dark horses. The wild cards have been thrown in the middle of this, coming out of Mexico. He waited for this moment after 3 consecutive climbs. This seems extremely tactical, actually, this attack, but Pierre Ficati quickly covers it. We do see couple of riders now coming off the back, though. Daniel Schmidt-Heine is the next one to bite the dust, actually. I wasn't expecting that.
I'm surprised to see
that.
So,
wow, crazy efforts from Daniel, but now it looks like now falling off back 20 seconds, and he's got a chase group to worry about with some strong riders, actually. Quentin Lefebvre, Borland, and Carranza chasing him down. Definitely going to have a solid effort to the line, maybe gone full-on nuclear blow-up at this point.
I wonder if Daniel's just paying a little bit for those very, very strong early efforts.
Oh my goodness, though, something we missed there for a second there. Pierre Ficati countered the attack, actually, coming from Sandoval. And now with this counter, he's got the largest gap of the day. 5 seconds off the front, 6 seconds off the front. Justin Pierre Ficati from Team ODZ killing it now. Has the orange jersey, actually. Fastest time, fastest lap in the game with 1 lap to go. He's got 6 seconds, but 6 seconds over a group that's that strong. This is a really brave move at this time, Simon.
Very brave, because that group is going to chase him down. They are going to hunt him down. And 6 seconds with a group of that caliber behind you, I don't think that's going to be decisive. But, you know, it could be.
8 seconds, it continues to go out. 5.3 watts per kilogram. I'm not sure anybody else has 5+ at this point. Jonas Templar now making his way to the front. Here's the thing. You got two. Here's the thing. These riders are all from different countries. We wanted to get all these different countries represented. International Field World Cup, right? But there are 2 team experimental boys in the chase group
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Okay, and are they going to work together to pull that back in? Or having these riders, are some of them next to each other? I do see Ernst and Shane right next to each other. We also have, it looks like, a couple of the other riders that are in the chase here next to each other. They could kind of have a little talk to, hey, let's get this going together. We got to work together. We got to communicate to chase this back down. Otherwise, this is going to be gone because Pierre Ficati has a full-on 14 seconds.
Wow.
Somebody has to go from that group to close this down, or this will be game over, and we will have another winner off the front at this point.
They've got to work together to close him down. And anybody who watches bike racing knows how complicated it is in terms of the factions that form and the alliances that form within a group. There could be an alliance formed, as Nathan said, between the two Team XRS members who are in the chasing group. But if I was in that chasing group and leading that chasing group, I'd be saying, we've got to catch this guy out front.
Yeah, and now we do have Sandoval going way before the cobbles. He's going to take a whole lot of speed into that cobble climb. 15 seconds, now they're starting to get a little antsy, knowing that things are a little bit out of control with this gap. Now, really, look at the effort coming from Sandoval. Absolutely killing it. Now looking at Kim Little here sitting in. Looks like he's playing it smart here, allowing the SW, Mr. Scotty Weiss, then to take a little bit of a pull. Templar now backing off a little bit. Pierre Ficati still, though, holding on to 13 seconds even after those attacks. And now they're back into 4 watts per kilogram. And Justin Pierre Ficati,
he's still
on the
holding
5.7,
over
5.7 all day long.
Yeah.
I think this was very calculated. He waited until this moment and then went and knew that for 20 minutes, I know what I can do. I know my threshold, and I'm going to hold it there, and I'm going to say, you boys got to catch me. That's what it's all down to. And they are definitely looking at each other, what we like to say as holding hands a little bit at this point, rather than working together to pull this back in at 6+ watts per kilogram to bring Mr. Pierre Ficati back. This might be 20 seconds off the front, but at the same time, 20 seconds is nothing on Libby, 23rd, and Governor, and you can close that down so quickly if you got the watts. And Pierre Ficati, here's the thing, if he's putting out 5+ all the way into Libby Hill, what's he going to have left for Libby?
Yeah. I mean, you know him well, Nathan. Can he hold over 5 watts per kilo for the remainder of the race?
He can. I believe he can. It might falter a little bit to 4.9 or so, 4.8, but it'll go around there, and I have a feeling that he can hold somewhere between 5 and 6 for the duration of the race. The question is whether or not he's going to have a kick, though, to hold off those boys at the back. He'll have to build, I think, up to 30 seconds to a minute in order to hold off the kind of pace that those boys can hold over the top of those climbs at the end of the course today. Looking at Ernst Templar here, looking left and right there a little bit, wondering where his competition is at, how everybody's feeling. Now putting out 5.0 watts per kilogram, I think there's a little bit of a question coming from Ernst right now. Do I have to do all the work? Because he's starting to put out 5.6 at the front now. Some of these boys are starting to play some pretty sneaky tactics, it seems, at this point, to say, somebody's got to go, I'll make you go, and then maybe see some sort of a counter.
The chase group's got to get together. They have to get together. They've got to work together and hunt down the lone breakaway in the form of the Canadian rider. And it looks like Ernst is perhaps taking the lead in deciding who is going to work together and in fact, if they're going to work together, because if they don't work together, Justin could get away and stay away.
Yep, that's definitely true. 23 seconds is what it's out to now. Shane Miller now, the one that we thought maybe was talking himself down a little bit, has actually made the chase group at this point and is looking fairly comfortable at 169 beats per minute. Look at the focus there. Looking very calm, watching the screen, looking around, taking a sip of water as he really looking fairly comfy. Ernst getting a drink there, it looks like, as well. So I think some of these riders staying fairly comfortable and waiting for the next one to go. And a lot of times in races like this, when you get somebody off the front, you'll actually, some of the tactics is you'll let a rider go for a little while and get enough of a gap where you can attack with a huge effort out of the pack, like we're seeing from Sandoval here going, they don't want anybody to be on your wheel. You don't want to drag that whole pack back up to the leader with you. So you want to create a gap and then close it down to that lead rider all by yourself or with 1 or 2 other riders. Looks like Sandoval does have it at 7 watts per kilogram. I think he does have a gap here. He's going to have to throw down 6+ though, all the way to Pierre Ficati's wheel. It's a 22-second gap. That's going to take him quite a long time though. We're talking about probably a 3 to 5 minute close here at the kind of effort he's throwing down.
And the next climb, it could decide the race, Nathan. Could Justin stay? If he stays away on this climb, could that see him holding it to the end?
I think so. I think if these guys do not get organized with I still think it's going to have to be 30-second plus. We'll have to wait, though. I'm not going to say what Justin can actually do once he actually hits that climb. There might be some extra motivation, but we do see Angel here a little ways off the back now with a solid effort, though, 187 beats per minute. If you are watching from home, you can download the Zwift app, actually. Find these riders by searching their names and give them ride-ons and encouragement all the way to the line. You can see Joe Borland here hammering away 180 beats per minute, trying to get to that finish line as quick as he possibly can. Solid effort coming from Mr. Borland here. We also have, it looks like Quentin LeFay, 158 beats per minute, head down, 278 watts. I know his FTP is right in that 270, 280, 290 range or so, so we know he's doing a full-on functional threshold, all-out effort to the line for the finish today. Solo TT effort to try and chase down Mr. Danish Schmidt-Heine. Looking back up toward the front now, we got Sandoval and Little going again, but then they just keep on getting covered. It's just covered after covered after covered. But with the gap at 22 seconds and kind of holding at this point, what do you think is going through Justin's mind?
What I think going through Justin's mind is he'll have one thing on his mind. Well, he'll have two things on his mind. He'll have the finish line on his mind for sure, but he cannot afford to ignore what that chasing pack are doing. I'm certain he'll be keeping an eye on their metrics. I'm certain he'll be keeping an eye on the extent of the gap, whether it's shrinking, growing, and he will have eyes on that pack because they are going to need to chase him down if he's to. If any one of them are going to take the title of the first CVR World Champion at this live event in Las Vegas. You're watching people chasing pixels on screen, as we often say, but there are real people on the stage here. There's real sweat and there's real effort going on, and this is real bike racing in a virtual world.
Yeah, and Templar here, you can see now, as they head toward this section of the course, this is where things are going to get interesting, because the downhill sections is where this group is going to pick up a lot of speed. Yeah. I have a feeling we might see that gap start to come down a little bit from Pierre Ficati. Pierre Ficati's thrown all of his cards on the table. At this point, with only about a half a lap to go, you can see Governor Street on the left-hand side of the Governor Street is on the left-hand side of the course right now for the riders, and with that climb, they are passing the halfway point of this final lap. And 22 seconds up now at this point. It's definitely going to be a difficult day for Justin all the way to the line, but he's thrown it all down at this point. He's really put all of his cards on the table, and it's going to be a very, very long day. He's definitely starting to suffer. Nathan. You can see it. And you can see a lot of riders have a different look, all different kinds of looks. I have a little bit meaner, not mean, I want to say meaner, a little bit more of a ugly look to it, Justin has a smile that comes with his grimace almost. One of those looking pretty good here while he does suffer. Smile while you suffer, my grandma's always said. So good to see him pulling off that out on course today. 5.3 watts per kilogram, 183 beats per minute right now from Pierre Ficati. What an amazing effort coming from Justin right here. But now at only 20 seconds with the kind of field that's chasing him down here. Scotty Weiss, you can see here, the world champion, 6.2, 6.0 watts per kilogram. Now they're starting to get organized, it seems like, Shane, with the kind of effort that they're putting out here.
Yeah, and Shane is still with that group. Shane has stayed with that group. I mean, he is contributing to this chase. Beyond, I think, even his expectations. He was talking down his chances, and I think there was a bit of teasing going on there. I think there was a bit of shadow boxing going on there. But I think Shane is possibly even exceeding his own private expectations here. Staying with a group of this quality for that long is a real achievement. Now, can these guys pull back any time on the next climb? Nathan, do you think they can pinch 10 seconds, 12 seconds on the next climb? I've been watching Justin. His watts per kilo has not dropped below 5. Not dropped anywhere near below 5 for the last Lord knows how long.
Yeah, I think actually these guys are just waiting for that moment, actually. I think they're kind of letting Justin dangle out there a little bit at this point. Now, I don't want to say that Justin doesn't have anything left to make those kind of attacks, but if you put out over a watt or 2 watts per kilogram more than another rider on that kind of climb, you saw what kind of gaps could open up at that point. So I have a feeling that they're kind of waiting. They're making sure at this point, it seems like, it doesn't go out too far. They're just kind of keeping it right within that comfortable space right now
Is
in
the
order
gap
to keep
falling
things there.
as he
It is
has
actually
it
going
dropped?
up now at this point to 25 seconds, but that's because he is on a downhill section of the course right now. So because being on that downhill section of the course, you can see it drop down to 3.9 watts per kilogram for Pierre Ficati, 185 beats per minute, definitely putting out a killer effort at this point. It is out to 28 seconds, but he is doing 57 kilometers per hour out on course. These boys at 42 right now, we'll see them probably all the way up into 60s actually, because they are a part of a group out on course right now.
And that will gain them time. It might only be a second or two because the descent is quite short, but it will pull back a little time on the lone leader, who is Justin Purificati from Canada, holding immense wattage over a very long period. This is a very, very strong performance from him, whatever happens at the finish.
Yeah, definitely huge performance. Now it's out to 33 seconds, 53 kilometers per hour actually. We are seeing 62 as we were saying. It was all the way up to 57 at this point out on course, but now it did get into the 60s for just a moment there. So solid effort there from Pierre Ficati, but we do see the group 2.7, 4.0, nothing near what Pierre Ficati was putting out actually on this section, and able to actually hold on to a little bit higher speed. Now we do see, as you were saying, the llama is still in there, and I think I don't think they're going to drop the llama off actually before the climbs. If they were going to, I think that Shane is going to be able to hang on steady at this point all the way through till they hit the climbs, and then we'll see if he's still got the same kind of effort all the way to the line. We might see an all-out sprint though to the line today with the kind of race that we're seeing play out here with this chase group. 27 seconds though up to Pierre Ficati now, and he's able to kick it back into that 5.6, even over into 6 watts per kilogram for a moment there. So Justin got a little bit of respite on that downhill, it looks like, and got a little bit back for his energy reserves as they're heading over to Libby Hill.
Who do you think could attack on the climb? Scotty Weiss, a very, very strong climber, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, we're going to see again Ernst and Scotty at the front of the climb again. But again, Kim Little may be holding something back this whole time. We haven't seen a lot of explosiveness from Kim so far. It seems like he's kind of just been following wheels. And I know he is a serious puncher. Being a mountain biker, I know that he's got a kick. He can kick 1, 2, maybe 3 times in a race, all out though, and it's really hard to follow. So I have a feeling we might see some action from Kim that he's been holding back actually for the duration of the race so far. 26 seconds is the gap at this point. We can't count out the fact that Justin's still got 26 seconds though, and could hold this off all the way to the line. It's still a lot of racing left to go with 3 crazy climbs coming up here in just a minute or 2.
Justin just clearing the sweat from his eyes there, and we're seeing that smile again. That's why he looks almost beatific, doesn't he there? I think that's the smile of a man leading the race, but there are still 3 big climbs to go. There's still a lot of sweat to be mopped off that brow. I wonder if Justin can hang on. I think we're going to see certainly the first of 2 or 3 clues that we're going to get on the next climb, which is going to come up very shortly after this flat section. This climb, I know it well as a Zwifter. Any Zwifter will know it very well indeed. It starts off fairly shallow gradient, and then it kicks up hard. Is that an attack?
Yeah,
is
it
that
is an attack from Sandoval now, actually kicking it over that little 5% gradient. It's a real quick little gradient actually on the industrial park, but there's not that many people left in this group now at this point, so maybe trying to break things apart a little bit before they hit Libby Hill. But now fading, you can see here as the SW now makes his way to the front here, closed it down really quickly actually, and then it was back at that 28 seconds to the leader. The SW now 3.4 watts per kilogram, Miller now 3.8, Kim Little sitting in at 4.0. Let's take a look at a few of the heart rates if we can get them here. 172 coming from Miller, a little bit bumped up actually from what we saw a little bit earlier. We are seeing Templar here 159 as well. Sandoval now 196, really beaten out, and he continues to attack. Continues to go over and over and over again. We can see here from Joel Sandoval, absolutely killing it out of Belize, 22 years old actually, and man, Pan American Championships, Commonwealth Games, to name a few things that he has actually, numerous national team representations at these races actually, so definitely a super strong racer. Holy Saturday Cross Country Classic 2016, second overall in the Tour Belize 2016, first overall in the Valentine Tour of Belize 2017, current national time trial champion 2016, 16. Wowzers, man, absolutely killer results
Has-
from this rider. And
has
he
he-
is gone.
Has he pulled the gap out?
He has out to 2 seconds at this point, and this rider who we have not seen out on Zwift a whole lot, actually, I'm not sure at all, is now starting to be a little bit of an upset for the other riders. 5.5 watts per kilogram, but has he gone too early? I mean, it's not even Libby Hill yet.
No, but one of the outcomes of these repeated small attacks is it actually forces up the pace of the group behind him as they've got to up the pace and kick hard to try and chase him down. And actually, it's quite for people who want to see a really close race on the line. These repeated small attacks from Sandoval are having a great effect because they're forcing the riders he's working with to work even harder and up their average pace.
So we do have, it looks like, SW along with Kim. Okay, and now we are going to head up Libby Hill. Shane, it looks like Shane now sitting at 6.2 watts per kilogram, followed by Templar.
So we're going up Libby Hill now, and the group is staying together. 1, 2, 3, 4 riders. I can see riders just drifted off the back. This could be a decisive point. Kim Little leads the pack up the hill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As we go to a shot of the real situation here, the real sweat, the real effort that's going down here in Las Vegas as we follow the first CVR World Champs. This is a very, very strong field of athletes. All these guys are regular racers on Zwift. At the front of the A races as we go up Libby Hill now, the cobbled climb. This section is really steep. It could be very decisive for the remainder of the race. Kim Little leads them up. Shane Miller's staying with it. Sandoval's still there. It looks as though those small attacks that he made have not robbed him of too much power in the legs. And there are 1, 2, 3 riders going over the top. Kim Little working hard there, working hard. I saw Kim yesterday. He's quite a short guy, but he's got like big muscles. And there we go. These are the real guys. They're sweating for real, they're working hard for real as they bid for glory and try and chase down the lone leader in the race at the moment as Nathan rejoins us to pick up on race commentary. Nathan, I think that group going over Libby Hill has been whittled down just a fraction, maybe one rider's fallen off.
Yeah, it looks like Sandoval with that attack early on right before the climb might have been a little too much, and maybe that was a little bit of inexperience there. 4.6 watts per kilogram now off the back of about 16 seconds. So I have a feeling that Sandoval maybe, with Libby Hill there, coming up was unfamiliar with that and got dropped off with that huge effort prior. Pierre Ficati, 22 seconds. This is going to come right to the line, Simon. I mean, holy cow. 7.5 watts per kilogram here, but now we are seeing it being closed down very quickly. Justin is going to have to give everything he has at this point and not let them get back on the wheel. We do see Templar now here, 10 watts per kilogram coming from Mirrors Templar now. This is for the win, boys and girls. We do see Sandoval at the back, but it is going to be SW here hanging on the wheel. Kim Little, Shane Miller is still there. He is still there, 180 beats per minute coming from the llama. He gets right back on the wheel. Templar now hanging on 5.3 watts per kilogram. Kim Little has still made it as well, playing the smart cards, but it's 11 seconds off the front. Pierre Ficati is holding on, but he has to go all the way to the line. 15 seconds. He has gone with 1 lap to go, right? He went with 1 lap to go and has held on to this point, and they have not caught him. Will he pull this off? It would be such a huge upset, I think, to have somebody go from that far out and hold on. 20 seconds. Will they close it down? 186 beats per minute. Kim Little now sitting in a little bit. They are not actually doing too much faster than Mr. Pierre Ficati, who's doing about 60 plus K down that downhill, but it's down to just 15 seconds. Will it be the classic at the line catch from the pack as we have the lone leader who went from way out? This is such an exciting finish here in this first ever CVR World Cup presented by Cyclogen. 14 seconds here. Pierre Ficati, 5.0 watts per kilogram, 5.8 now. Does he have the kick to the line to hold on to this gap? 13 seconds. It's coming down little by little. And will Kim Little be able to close it down here as well? I have a feeling that kick we've been talking about has been waiting. We have not seen him go for an attack, actually. He's just followed wheels. 4.1 watts per kilogram, 154 beats per minute. That might be the move up Governor Street. Now we are going to see it, though. This is going to be when the final move comes in. I'm absolutely positive that somebody's been waiting at this point. Simon.
There is just one climb left, and this is the only point on course now that they can make a difference. But they could do it. They could do it, Nathan. The gap is not unclosable.
10 seconds is nothing. 10 seconds is nothing. Look at the sweat coming off of these riders. Look at the SW right there, the world champion. Look at these riders trying to close this down. The real life effort. 8 seconds, 9 seconds. Pierre Ficati, can he hold on? You know he wants to. You know he's got every ounce of desire to do it. But will his legs have anything left in them after over 20 minutes off the front and amongst this elite group of riders, this international field that showed up? Can he pull it off for Canada here? But it's only 6 seconds, 5 seconds. The SW's kicking now, 7 watts per kilogram. Can he make the gap though, or is it going to come all back together and come down to a 5-man heads up sprint finish? The crowd's starting to go wild out here. They're cheering on their favorite racer, Simon. This is insane.
This is an exciting race. This is a seriously exciting race. Look at Scotty Weiss go there. Lolook at the effort.
Look at
he
him.
knows
Oh,
that
my
this
goodness.
is the only place where a difference can now be made in this race.
But now we do see Templar making his way to the front. Pierre Ficati still has 3 seconds. Can he do it? It's going to come all the way down to this last 500 meters. Pierre Ficati, 6.5, but somebody's going to have to kick it up into gear now and go. 4 seconds. Oh my goodness. Will he pull it off for Team ODZ at this point? Shane Miller now.
Shane
Here
Miller is
comes
still
Shane
there.
Miller. No
Miller
way.
is still there.
Oh my goodness. Miller is going. He's been waiting, it seems like, in the llama.
Unbelievable.
Oh my goodness, said that he was not going to be part. Look at the effort there coming from Pierre Ficati though. 3 seconds off the front. Miller's trying to close it down. 3 seconds, 9 watts per kilogram. Oh my gosh, will the llama do
He's
it?
getting him.
Is it
He's
gonna
catching
be?
him.
Oh
He's
my
catching
gosh.
him.
We've got the top mode right now. Will the llama get to the line? Templar's going. Who's it going to be? It's so close. Shane Miller with 10 watts per kilogram. 1 second is the difference. Oh my
He's getting.
goodness.
He's inside.
Is he gonna
He's
do
going to
it?
go past
100
him.
meters. Pierre Ficati. I think it was Pierre Ficati. Miller was right there. I don't know. We'll have to wait for the actual results. Followed by Templar for 3rd. Kim Little for 4th. SW for 5th. Oh my gosh. What a race, boys and girls. That was so amazing. It came down to 1 second. Look at Pierre Ficati. That effort for the line. A full on 20 plus minutes across the finish line. I think he did it. I'm not sure though. We'll have to wait for the official results from the rest of from our officials here on site though. We do have Sandoval now bringing it in here, representing Mexico. Solid effort from Sandoval there out of Mexico. Kicking it a little bit to the line. 4.3 watts per kilogram. Absolutely killing it as well. Amazing result though. That was one of the most exciting Zwift races I've ever seen in my life. Coming right down to the line with that chase group. Absolutely killing it. Working together in those laps. Well, kind of working together. Just kind of kicking each other essentially. Just throwing down huge power just to make that chase. To try and catch Justin Pierre Ficati out of Canada there for Team ODZ. That was an amazing effort. We didn't think he could do it.
I'm close to speechless, Nathan. I mean, that was the most fantastic race. Just an amazing race. I mean, these big events, sometimes they don't live up to their billing. And you might get a race that's not close or exciting or hard fought. That was all of those things. That was an absolutely stunning race. So entertaining to watch.
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
And Shane Miller.
Talking himself down.
Man.
The Australian says, I'm out of it. Comes in at that last second with a 10 watt per kilogram, 11 watt per kilogram sprint.
Unbelievable.
Almost catches them at the line. We're not sure who we're not positive yet. We'll try and get results as quickly as we possibly can. We're waiting for the officials to give us an absolute. As soon as we got that, we will let you guys know. We know that it was Shane and Pierre Ficati to the line though. It's between those two at this point. We will announce it as soon as we possibly can. What an effort though from the Australian, from the Canadian there. Awesome job. The Dutch virtual cycling national champion as well came in for 3rd place across the line, it looked like today. Awesome job by Jens Templar there, traveling the entire world over to get into the arena. Absolutely amazing job today from the these riders. We got a few more riders to be crossing the line here in just a moment. We will, let's try and get back to Daniel Schmidt-Heine here, it looks like, making his way to the line, 3.5 watts per kilogram. Looks like he's going to be bringing it in, I believe, for somewhere just outside of the top 5 or so today. Great effort coming from Schmidt-Heine. We saw him early on with those attacks on the downhill sections of the course. We saw up in the 1,200 watts from Daniel Schmidt-Heine. Big monster rider coming out of Switzerland, making his way all the way over here to Las Vegas to represent Team Experimental, giving us one last little show to the line, it looks like here. He's going to bump it up into that 15 watts per kilogram there to give us a solid effort, 179 beats per minute, up and out of the saddle. Look at him go, boys and girls, and nice effort to cross the line there from Daniel Schmidt-Heine. Quentin LeFay now, Vision Cycling bringing it in as well. Looks like 5.2 watts per kilogram. It's been a solo TT effort for Mr. LeFay here, representing Vision Cycling, coming all the way over from France. 163 beats per minute. Let's see some ride-ons over the head of Quentin LeFay as he tries to make his way to the line here. Nice job with Quentin LeFay there, and really toughing it out to the finish line. Jay Borland here as well, coming out of Belize. Joe Borland, solid effort from him, trying to chase down Quentin LeFay. 25 seconds. 25 seconds is the difference here between these two riders. They could actually still be a little bit of a battle. 25 seconds is pretty big. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to close it down, but we'll see if Joe has got enough left. Joe Borland's got enough left in the legs to close it down to Quentin LeFay. But I think Quentin's going to be able to hold this off for a solid, I believe it's going to be 7th place out there today.
Yeah. I'm still trying to work out. I'm reluctant to call this, but I think Shane got
I don't know.
that.
It looked to me like pure Picati. We're gonna have to beg to differ on that. I have a feeling that it might be. I have a feeling it might be pure Picati of what I saw at the line, though. But at the same time, though, in Zwift, you know, the actual marker of when that communication of power came into the game, that's what's going to matter. You know what I mean? The communication of power to get them across to that virtual line is what's actually going to matter. We don't really have, our photo finishes actually work through ZwiftPower.com, as well as some of the things that Cyclogen have put together to track things in game. So Quentin LeFay now here, 5.3, 5.4 watts per kilogram, giving us a little kick to the line. Let's see if we can get a real look at Mr. Quentin LeFay there for his 10 watts per kilogram as he makes it to the line. 100 meters to go. Solid effort there from Quentin to make it across the line. The world champion there next to him, giving him some encouragement coming from Scotty Weiss in real life, road race and TT Masters world champion. Solid effort there coming from Quentin. Nice job with some of the crowd giving him some cheers there across the line. We're waiting for the replay, Carissa. We'll see if we can get one with the photo finish. We can see Carissa Min giving us some chat there over at the Twitch channel. If you guys got any comments or anything, at Nathan Guerra for some interaction here while we wait for the results, we can chat it up with Twitch chat a little bit. So we also do have, it looks like Mr. Borland here, Joe Borland out of Belize, making his way to the line, 4.1 watts per kilogram, getting some encouragement from the Llama there, as well as the SW. Great to have all these figureheads from Zwift hanging out here in Las Vegas with us at the Neonopolis with the Millennial Esports, the arena, killing it on these bikes in the virtual world of Zwift. Borland now just across the line there. Great job, 185 beats per minute. There it goes. Solid effort coming from the man coming out of Belize. Nice job.
And I think we should just explain to viewers of that most exciting race, Nathan, that we cannot call the result yet. We need to be 100% certain of what the result is before we call it. It's between first and second is between Jason and Shane. Justin and Shane. Justin Purificati and Shane Miller. They are the two riders that we're trying to separate, and we've got to be completely 100% certain before we call it.
Yep, definitely. We do not want to call anything incorrectly here. We do not want any official announcements, so we're just going to wait and make sure that we got everything exact, because it came right to the line after an entire lap of chasing. Yeah. That was amazing.
What a race.
So we do have Angel Carranza here hammering away, 189 beats per minute, 235 watts right now. Absolutely killing it. 21 years old, originally from the city of Guatemala. Let's see here. He was 6 years old when he started mountain biking, devoted to cycling on the road and track cycling then after that. He's been a part of the National of Guatemala cycling team and has represented in several countries, actually. Some of his other achievements include National XCO 2014 and 2015, and then he's also been national champion of the Omnium in 2015 and 2016. So Angel, definitely a solid athlete that is coming to the line here that we're about to see cross 4.0, 4.2 watts per kilogram. Giving us a little kick, it looks like maybe at the line here as he kicks it into a last 100 or 200 meters or so, getting a whole lot of ride-ons here out on course. So it looks like there's a nice little replay there from Zwift Community Live on who won. Thanks a lot, Zwift Community Live, for throwing that down for us. And now that we have all the races across the line, we're going to go to a quick break, everybody. We will be right back with the official results as well as the awards presentation for the men. We'll see you in just a few minutes.